She's got a voice louder than a howling midnight wind, bringing truth to the airways with a whiskey grin. Country crazies, she calls her waking up the blind. One by one, gonna open up their minds. Late night sessions, microphones hot and raw, taking down the lies, striking like a lightning's claw. Viewers addicted to her wild rebel yell. In this savage world, she's taking you out from hell. Country crazy's gonna get you straight. Truth bombs dropping, ain't no debate. Wake up people from a world of lies, one viewer at a time, opening their eyes.
Welcome in, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. We're on earlier than usual. I'm trying to switch the time to where it's earlier. How is everybody? Hi, everybody on Instagram. Good to see you guys. Everybody on Insta, Rumble. Boy, crazy things happening today, isn't there? This UN business with the WHO. I don't know if people have really grasped the concept of this and how dire and serious it is. They say they have passed the pact. The question about it is, you cannot pass a treaty for the United States. You can't do that unless it's congressionally done. And they're saying they've passed it without any congressional agreements, and you've got to have the 2/3 of it. And they haven't done that. Hi, Miss Brenda. Welcome in, sweetheart. Hope you're feeling well. You can't do that. That is complete treason. You cannot sidestep the Constitution of the United States of America, which is what these tyrannical idiots are trying to do. It's plain and simple. He shall have power by, with the advice and the consent of the Senate to make treaties, provided that 2/3 of the senators present concur. Okay, but they didn't. They didn't. They didn't. They did this backdoor shit, is what they've done. If you go to read case file versus covert 354 U.S. 1957, the ruling in this case clarified that treaties do not have the authority to override the Constitution, stating that this court has regularly and uniformly recognized supremacy of the Constitution over a treaty. So, what this means is the Constitution is the law of the land. This Constitution, the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuant thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of what? Of what? The United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges or for every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. This clause establishes that the Constitution is the highest form of law in the U.S., and it implies that neither treaties nor federal laws can violate it. Now, this is where you're going to get the Chevron Act that's going to come into play. Recently the Supreme Court ended up overriding that and getting rid of it. This was never codified. Half the shit they do is never codified, and these are things that have to be codified. And for the longest time, our Congress hasn't really been voting on anything and agreeing for anything. Do you know who's been doing it? Just like they've been doing it right now. They go outside step the Congress and they make these laws and they do all of this bullshit, and it's not even legal, people. It's not even freaking legal. So the Supreme Court took this down. I'm going to tell you, by them doing this, it's treasonous. And by them doing this is going to open up the can of worms we need, truthfully. It's going to open up the can of worms that we freaking need to shut this shit down. Plain and simple. They have no rights. No right to do this shit. No right at all. You cannot do that. And I don't know who the hell these people think they are, that they running just rogue. Seriously, they are running rogue, thinking that they can do anything they want to do, however they want to do it. Constitution states different. And you know what, Democrats? You need to start waking up and realizing that Constitution is going to smack you right in the goddamn face. It's going to smack you right in the face because you are not the authority. First, God is all things in the authority. But you Democrats, you cannot just wake up one day and get with a collective of elites and perverts and pedophiles, because that's what the WHO is, and think that you can just get with these people and tell the American people, you don't have a constitution anymore. We don't have to abide by it. You're going to do what we say. You know what? That's a very, very, very dangerous road to be walking on. Supreme Court and everything will have to get involved in this, you guys. They truly will. This is not a good thing that has happened with them doing this. It is, but isn't. It isn't because now the truth is being shown. But do you really want to know what this is headed to? Um, truthfully, let me see if I can find my. Truthfully, this is headed specifically to their 2030 agenda. It even states it as such. You guys got to go check out the 2030 agenda, okay? Because they want this to be done. If you guys have not read the 2030 agenda, you need to, because they're nut jobs. They talk about how they want to just end poverty for everyone, for everybody, but they want to contradict themselves and try to use both ways that they're going to do it. You can't do that. Poverty is here. Poverty is there, especially with you elite shitheads packing your pockets full of the tax dollars and the taxpayers and printing money religiously and crazy all the time. You have no rights. So, at the first time ever, I went on one of the resolutions. I think it was 1425. There was two resolutions they were trying to do with this pack. And if you go on there, it states under every line underneath it. I've never seen this done before with any kind of bill ever. It states in every single line that it cannot be, you can't have a treaty without congressional approval, without congressional approval across the board. I mean, it is completely across the board. I've never seen them do that. So I think they kind of knew something was coming like this. I think they kind of knew that they were going to try to pull a fast one. So they were prepared for it. But Congress has not voted on this. Congress has not agreed to this. This is just a group of individuals that decided that they wanted to act like they were, big boys, hung like a horse, but they're not. The little pissant peons that ain't got shit. They don't have shit. The Constitution overrides it, guys. So go ahead and play your games. We'll have you and we'll see you in court. The American people will see you in court. We definitely will, because this won't fly. No WHO is going to sit there and tell the American people what to do. Trump pulled away from their bullshit. They are trying so hard to push for proxy wars, have him arrested constantly at every avenue because they want this. They're trying to usher in the one world order. Yes, it is eventually going to happen because God says so that it will. But you cannot force something. If God wants it to happen, it's going to happen. It's that simple. But you yourself, you demons, you can't rush anything. You just can't. It's not going to happen. So keep trying. Keep trying. That's what I'd say to you. Keep freaking trying because it's not going to happen. Well, today, Trump filed his rebuttal to Chuckton. I always say her name that way. Julie Kelly explains here how Judge Chuckton signed off on what she admits is an irregular filing and outside the ordinary course of court procedures. Now, Smith wants to file a massive document laying out the case because it will never get to trial. And Trump filed this today. The motion is new development illustrating the unprecedented and irregular nature of the office's approach of remand, as they are seeking permission to file a document that would quadruple the standard page limits in the district. So, see, if you guys go back and in all these cases, and look, the 134 count indictment in Georgia, which 8 of those indictments have been removed. Those indictments are identical. Each one is identical, and one could have been for just a typo, or it was put in there twice, and they're going after him for the exact same thing. They're trying everything they can, and it's not working. It is not working. First off, Dirty Jack Smith, what the hell do you think you're filing anything for? Why? Because Congress didn't appoint your ass either. Do you see a pattern here with these Democrats? They have no respect for America. They have no respect for the Constitution. They think they can just go and hire this person to take a former president to court over everything. If the man pisses in the wind, they gonna get him for something. Another thing today, the DHS released, the DOJ has released a letter in the case against Ryan Roth. You know, he's the one who did the second attempt on Donald Trump. Did you know that he said that if he got busted, he wanted either them to have $150,000 bounty to where someone else get up and do the job? The DOJ released that, but they won't release manifestos for other things. Do you see how they want? They want this to happen to Trump. They want this to happen to Trump. DOJ, I'm telling you, you don't want nothing to happen to Trump. I promise you, you don't want anything to happen to Trump. God's in control, and you don't want his wrath. You do not want his wrath. You need to heed my words. You do not want the Lord's wrath, because it is mighty and it is swift. You're messing with a child of God. You're messing with a chosen and anointed one. God has used him for a vessel for so much. You are messing with the wrong one. But you evil demons, you demons out there, that's exactly what you are. Demons. That's what we're fighting against, guys. It's a spiritual warfare at the end of the day. It's exactly what we are. Spiritual warfare. It's plain and simple. Let me move this. I think I've already talked about all that. Here we go.
Me now is Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia. Senator, I'm so thrilled to be talking with you. There's so much I want to ask you about, but the eyes of the nation really are on Georgia right now, as you know. And I just gave a brief overview of what the state election board just did last week. There'll be more next week. You've said they are trying to set up a scenario in which they could refuse to certify an election whose results they don't like. That sounds a lot to me like people should be prepared out there for Trump and his team to try to overturn the will of the voters in Georgia again if he loses, like they did last time. Is that right? Is that what we should expect?
I'm very concerned, Jen. All of us should remember that famous phone call, a man from Florida calling into Georgia saying he needed 11,780 votes. Mm-hmm. He didn't get it. And apparently these members of the State Board of Elections, whom he called pit bulls, who are out there doing his bidding and trying to create a scenario in which they can declare by fiat who the winner of Georgia is. Listen, I've seen this up close. You know, I've won in Georgia 2 elections. My name's been on the ballot 5 times in less than 3 years. They saw the anatomy of my win during my first election, how we won in the runoff. And so going into the runoff this last time, I had to sue the state officials of Georgia just so that Georgia voters could vote that first weekend of the runoff. This is how voter suppression happens. Undermine votes a little bit here, a little bit there. The news that Georgia voters ought to be paying attention to is this. The fact that they are doing this means that they know we're winning. They know that the momentum is with Kamala Harris. And this effort to turn the democracy on its head so that rather than the voters picking their representatives, the folks who are running get to pick their voters, it won't stand. We're going to be vigilant in court, and we're going to turn our people out.
It is, I know you've dealt with these tactics before, so you're the perfect person to talk to about this. There are a couple of Republicans in the state of Georgia who have expressed concern about what could happen here. A lawyer for Brad Raffensperger, the state attorney general. Now, you know best if those are just words or if they'd actually take actions. If they wanted to prevent this from happening, what could they do?
Well, I think we need to see more action from the state officials here. And yes, I'm paying attention because, again, I've been through this history. But the fact that you have county officials, both Democrats and Republicans, saying that this is a mess, saying that we can't do what you're asking us to do, saying that this insisting on counting votes by hand is not only going to delay our ability to certify, but it certainly, the data shows it doesn't increase accuracy, it decreases accuracy. Look, I'm old enough to remember Florida in 2000, and we all saw the mess that was, and we don't need that here again in Georgia. So we will continue to press the issue, but I want to be clear for the folks who are watching me this morning. The whole purpose of voter suppression really is to so demoralize the electorate or parts of the electorate that you don't even bother. And for those who are watching and are wondering, well, what can I do about this? I'll tell you what you can do. You can show up. You can show up and say you're not going to squeeze my voice out of the democracy, that I have a right to cast my vote and for my vote to be counted. And showing up in massive numbers, that's the way you respond.
Now, isn't that interesting? Okay. Let's go there. Let's go there for a minute. Isn't that interesting? You talk about democracy. You talk about your vote matters, to squeeze your voice. Didn't they squeeze your god darn voices by just throwing camel toe in the ring without you getting to have a vote? Anybody? And then popping walls up in there? Did you get your democracy there? Did you? No. And your issue with this is, what is wrong with counting the ballots thereafter when they're cast, to know if you guys are cheating anymore? That is what it is. You're terrified that Dominion is going to show its ass, which it will. But now we're smarter. Do you know Georgia is cleaning up their voter rolls? Do you know every state is actually cleaning up their voter rolls? I mean, we can show you proof of so many discrepancies, but you guys just wanted to throw that under the table because you guys have backpedaled. You have allowed the court systems to drag their asses and not have any judge or court with the cojones enough to take on you guys in the case, because they're scared little bitches is what they are. But you know what? The American people are onto it. So you have a problem with when it hits 1,900 votes, when it hits 1,900 ballots, that they count them by hand. What is wrong with that? What are you so afraid of? What are you so afraid of by doing the right thing? I don't say that is squeezing the voices out of anyone. They're actually getting to vote. Just wanting to maintain a secure and fair election. That is what it boils down to. But you don't want that. You can't handle that. You don't want that. So you would rather say, no, we're not going to do this because you guys think your fix is in, because you've gotten away with it before, but you won't get away with it again. You just won't. The American people aren't going to put up with your bullshit. They hand counted paper ballots for years with no problem and had the results the next day. You're right, Robin, and that was something we spoke about the other night. I used to go with my father when he would vote. We knew at least by 1 or 2 a.m. who the president was. It was that simple to stop. And they've already started saying, well, you may not know the count instantly. It may be a week. No, bitches. No, bitches. We're not doing that shit. You're going to do what is right by the American people, because the American people are going to stand there and we're going to watch your asses count them. We're going to make sure that this time it does not happen. Yes, I agree. Show up. show up and vote. I agree. I don't know if that's code for all these illegals to show up with their fake IDs or what. I don't know if that's code for that. But you know what, illegals, if you're listening to me, try it. Try it. I wish you would. It would just get you out of the country faster. I wish you would. We'll just deport your asses faster. So try it. But this time you'll be going to jail. You'll be going to jail. And I don't think you want to go there. I don't think you want to go there because, you know, you may be able to do criminal activities somewhere else and get away with it, but you won't come to America and do it because we'll bust your ass. Okay? We're going to bust your ass. It's that simple. And that senator's so upset and worried because of Dominion. They should get rid of all Dominions. It should go to just counting the ballots. Now, you do have the ones that come in and they're not trustworthy. We've seen video evidence of it where they were marking and not counting right. I'm going to tell you, things are different this time around. They have had to sign things that if there is irregularities after you counted, you are going to look at some serious jail time. You're going to be, yes, you're going to be held accountable. Accountability is the one thing that we are going to demand and make sure we have at this time. And that is a promise. That is a promise. Oh, JoJo decided to crawl out from underneath his lawn chair today from the beach, didn't he? He's weird. JoJo.
You know, I thought when I got to be president, I'd get to do things that I wanted to do, but my staff tells me what I can't do. But I'm going to do it anyway. All the young women, young kids out there that are out there, come on up and do this when we stand behind me when we do this. Come on.
He's not allowed to have a young women. He thought he could do whatever he wanted to do. That's a sick man. That's a sick man. Crawled out from underneath his lawn chair long enough to come up there. He just wants the young ones. The young ones. That's all he wants is the young ones. We had a Governor Josh Shapiro today currently signed bombs with Zelensky standing there. Signing bombs. Look at that boo standing back there. Guys, that's not good. That's not good. They want to sign warheads. They want to sign bombs of mass destruction. You know what? They want to send our daughters. They want to send our sons. They want to send, I think we need to start with the Senate and governors first and say, you know what? If you support this bullshit, you're up, baby. You're up. Time to shine, bitches. It's time for them to shine. Isn't that ridiculous? Why would you celebrate death and destruction? That's sick. It is very sick, Robin. Very sick. But that's what they choose to do because we are dealing with demons. I think they named themselves correctly. Democrats. Demons. Yeah, I do. I think they truly did. Wait a minute. It's just a matter of time. A matter of time. Now, the gangs that we've seen that are in Colorado, it's getting a lot worse.
Impact a runaway trend. Let's bring in Octavia Mitchell. She lost 3 family members to gun violence in that city and formed the Heal Your Heart organization to support other bereaved parents. Thank you very much, Octavia. You certainly were a part of the many headlines coming out of that city, a city that you and I both know very well. It's getting very scary. It has been for quite some time. But now this gang violence, this is a whole different level. What are you seeing there on the ground and hearing as far as these gangs now clashing in the South Side?
I'm seeing where the migrants are trying to take over. I guess they're saying that they're going to take over the city of Chicago. We have the state and we have the city that I feel that are giving them access to monies that are making them able to buy guns, cars. They're flying up and down the streets. It's dangerous. They're toting guns around. They're threatening to take over different areas. And I have a problem with that because, once again, I am the owner of Heal Your Heart nonprofit organization, and I work on the grounds with low poverty communities. I'm trying to find housing for our citizens here, and we can't get housing, but our government here and the city mayor and the government here are housing these migrants. They're hanging out all types of the night, partying all types of the night, and they're making it dangerous, and it's very scary.
There's an incredible piece in the New York Post. A reporter took to the streets there, talking to some of these gang members, who have turned straight, including this gang member, Tyrone Muhammad. He's a former gang member, has served time for murder. He now says he's gone straight, and he's calling out what's happening in the streets there. In fact, this is a portion of what was in the New York Post piece in the reporting. Chicago gangbangers are raging against the newly arrived Venezuelan migrants as Tren de Aragua moves in. City's going to go up in flames. He says when the black gangs here get fed up with the illegalities and criminal activities of these migrants or non-citizens, the city of Chicago, he says, is going to go up in flames, and there will be nothing the National Guard or the government can do about it when the bloodshed hits the streets. It'll be blacks against migrants. What is your reaction to that?
He's correct, because the blacks already here are frustrated. They're not being given the help that they should be given. And then we have the migrants who's coming here that's getting everything that we deserve. I understand that everybody deserves to live safely, but how do you come to Chicago and say that you want to live safely, but then you come here and commit crimes? They're not being sent back where they come from. They're coming here, they're committing crimes, they're getting all these public assistance, and they have cars. How do you have a car and you're not even legal here? When I purchased my car, I needed to show them a light bill, a bank account, and everything. So how are you able to purchase a car? How are you able to purchase guns? Yes, it's going to get very bad, and there's nothing that's going to be able to be done. I'm on the grounds every week trying to find housing for my citizens, and I can't find housing. Even the up and new coming buildings that's being built, we can't get any housing, but I have migrants in our neighborhood right across the street from us that has housing. We have them paying $10,000 for 6 months for migrants to live, and we have over 200,000 people on CHA waiting lists trying to get housed. So yes, our citizens are frustrated. They're not understanding how they homeless.
Yeah. And we've heard this, and we've seen this. We've seen this outrage at some of the city council meetings, town halls. We've heard these voices. And I know you've asked to meet with the mayor. Is the city listening? Is the mayor taking your calls?
No, the mayor's not taking the calls. The day before the mayor was sworn in, I invited him to one of my Mother's Day events to come out and see these mothers who are hurting. Some of these mothers have lost 2 and 3 children to gun violence here in the city of Chicago. He first agreed to come, and then he declined. Once he was sworn in, he went straight to the migrants the next day and never looked back at me. Never.
Wow.
I went to the city hall, and you can't even get to the floor. He has security where you can't even get on the elevator. I've never seen that. All the mayors in my life, I've never seen where you have to have permission to get to the floor.
Yeah. We obviously hear your frustration, and we will follow up with you, Octavia. This is a huge problem, and Mayor Johnson is welcome, open invitation to come on this program anytime and talk to us about what's happening there. We are covering it. Octavia, thank you, and our best to you. And
That's disgusting. That is so disgusting. Now you have to have permission to go up there. Who do these people think they are? Who do they really think they are? Americans don't have the housing. And all the immigrants, did you hear? $10,000 for 6 months. $10,000 for 6 months. Starvo says maybe some think because they register Democrat that they have to vote Democrat. That's a possibility. You know, it has been stated that Kamala is starting to push people on her team over to Republicans to vote in different register as a Republican but vote as a Democrat. This is a very important. Starvo, you always said that's all because police cannot do the job. The Democrat leaders are telling them to stand down. You was in law enforcement under Giuliani, and in mine, we're locking everyone up for the smallest things. Needs to go back to that. Definitely needs to go back to that. That's why they wanted to defund the police, because they knew that there are righteous, honorable officers that take their job very serious, that we're here to serve and protect. Thank you for that. And they don't want the ones they want to do serve and protect. Why do you think they wanted to allow immigrants to become law enforcement officers? And now they want immigrants to be able to have a government job and no problem? I had to go to college. I've had to go to school to do what I got to do, but now they don't have to do that. They can just come in our freaking country, get paid, no idea of what their criminal history is. You could be putting a freaking murderer, a pedophile, in charge of DCS. Think about that. You could being a cop. I'm telling you, this is not going to end well. It's not going to end. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing it. And this is what they want. Look what.
We get stuff done. We get stuff done. And now let this world. Your father was there on your left. You're right. Your father was there on your left. You're right. Your uncle was there on your left. You're right. Auntie was there on your left.
Springfield, Ohio. Haitian groups gathering together in collective groups. We think about that, people. We needed 60 credits to get on the job. And yeah, you had to have a bachelor's associate's degree to get your into the door. High school diploma just to even get there. Now they would just want to throw all that out the window, and they just want to say, you come on over here, we're going to let you work in a government position. Do you see what they do? They take in the construction jobs, they take in factory jobs. I know that my little old town, they've dropped buses of them off, and they take in the jobs at the factories. American people can't even get the jobs. I can't wait till Trump gets in office and deports their ass back. If you want to come back to America, then you line your ass up and you come back the right way. But we're going to vet your ass. We're going to find out about your background. We're going to find out who the hell you really are. That's for damn sure. See, they don't want Trump to do that because Trump's going to put a stop to it. And it needs to have a stop put to it. It absolutely does. I can't believe the state of this country. I just can't. I can't. Let's listen to over the weekend at one of Trump's rallies.
All right, let's get back to our top story. We're learning Iranian hackers sent stolen Trump campaign information over to Biden, and it happened months ago. Trump reacting on Truth Social, saying in part here, quote, wow, just out, the FBI caught Iran spying on my campaign and giving all the information to Kamala Harris' campaign. Therefore, she and her campaign were illegally spying on me, to be known as the Iran case. Will Kamala resign in disgrace from politics? Of course, don't hold your breath. Let's get this and reaction. Pleased to bring in right now Missouri Congressman and the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, Congressman Jason Smith. Welcome in, sir.
It's great to be with you.
You know, Donald Trump making that, pointed reaction here. I don't think we'll ever find out what the Biden campaign did with this information. How could we? But it's also so layered because we know that there have been covert Iranian influencers who have visited the government and the White House numerous occasions, Iranians on the security threat watch list. So here we have it. It is an official confirmation. What do you think needs to happen next, and what can Congress do?
I mean, this is a serious concern. If, in fact, this happened, this would be foreign interference in an election. We also know the Iranians have made it crystal clear that they want to assassinate Donald Trump. That threat has been out there. Iranians are people that we cannot trust. And if the Biden-Harris administration has worked with them to try to defeat Donald Trump, we need to clean out their closet.
Certainly. We had some reaction after we saw the second attempt on his life, and the suspect, when he was in court, he's smirking, he's smiling. Ryan Wesley Routhier, the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, released a photo of him. And Donald Trump has done several events since then, as you know, last night in Uniondale and also in Flint, Michigan tonight. Here's a bit of what he says in reaction to what went down on his golf course.
These encounters with death have not broken my will. They have really given me a much bigger and stronger mission. They've only hardened my resolve to use my time on earth to make America great again, for all Americans to put America first.
He's laying out policy. He's taking bullets, dodging bullets. Kamala Harris, meantime, tonight will be with Oprah in Michigan, Congressman.
I'll tell you, President Trump is a fighter. He is the toughest political leader that I have ever worked with in my entire time in public service. And to survive 2 different assassination attempts and to continue to lead and fight without tripping up anywhere, I'm super proud of him. Our country needs him. When you look at when he was president of the United States, we had the best economy in my entire lifetime. Right now, under the leadership of Vice President Harris and President Biden, we have an economy that is failing. We've seen the highest interest rates in more than 2 decades. We've seen inflation go up 20.3%, costing every American more to put food on their table, clothes on their backs, and gasoline in their cars. We need Donald Trump.
Let's talk about the reaction to the Federal Reserve cut, 50 basis points. Kamala Harris has been criticized by not, talking about anything besides this opportunity economy that she's talking about when she's not, in fact, stealing ideas from the Donald Trump campaign, like no taxes on tips. But the market obviously will react. And we had statements before from market movers like billionaire hedge fund, John Paulson saying, if she wins, I will take my money out of the market. I will look at gold. We had Donald Trump yesterday talking about crypto with those new folks and a new business venture. There's a lot in play when it comes to the economy, and there's 2 different paths depending on who regains the White House.
Vice President Harris's plan is just an economic crisis. You look at what her and Vice President has done to our economy. It has been devastating. They spent more than $10 trillion in just their first 2 years in office, which put jet fuel on the inflation fire, causing it to go up, like I said, 20.3%. She's called for repealing the Trump tax cuts, which would create a $7 trillion tax increase on every single American. That is the last thing that the American people need when they've been struggling just to survive in the Biden-Harris economy. Interest rates gone up 11 times.
It gets really devastating to sit there and turn any kind of information on or even read. Sometimes I just wish, in some senses, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. But we're using our voices out here fighting. I don't know if I'd make a difference. I hope I do. I've been at this 4 years now. And I see the faces of the future generations. I see my grandkids, my future great grandkids. There come a day I won't be here any longer. I'm 51 now. And I mean, that's young, but still at the same time, it's older. And so what if I'm not promised the next minute. We're not promised tomorrow. So I want to leave something behind. I want to have my voice out there. The internet's forever. So my grandson pays attention. He asks questions. He's going to be 15 this year. And we have to teach them. We got to live 80s, 90s, loved it. I remember those days so well. But when this government got in office, everything flipped. Everything changed. and it will never go back. It will never go back. But we can actually lessen the blow, and we can show them what freedom is about, what honesty is about, morals, values. None of this bullshit. Just recently breaking is Cynthia Jackson Burns is an Oakland daycare owner. She's been permanently banned from working with children in California after subjecting these kids at a small trans bears daycare. Yes, you heard me right. They actually have trans daycares. They said it's too harsh of a punishment, including spanking and whipping these kids. Including spanking and whipping them. They have trans freaking daycares? Oh, God. Wow. And this WHO of this treaties, if I'm telling you guys, you have to dig, you have to read it. It is not just on the cover, on the outside of them saying, well, we want to protect prepared readiness and this and that. No, 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 no. You got to dig deep. You got to go in there. You got to go in there and you got to read it and you got to figure it out because this is bad. This is bad. This is bad, you know? There was a couple of videos made back at the time of when in May when this started. Congress shot it down then because they don't like this shit, truthfully. And second, they didn't let them have it 6 months previously to know what they were going to be reading. They just said, hey, show up and we're going to vote on it, which is what a lot of these rhinos like to do. They don't care about the American people. They just want to screw the American people over and over again and steal and pillage. They are the crazies. They really are. But I'm going to play you. Now, remember, this one was done back in May. But the UK is actually living what this shit is about.
They started a historical global agreement that they should do a pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response guideline. And it was adopted, of course, by everybody because they had 2/3 there. And that's when they did an extraordinary World Health Assembly in end of November, beginning of December, which they consecrated or they focused on this guideline I just showed you, a guide to a pandemic treaty that was discussed. And in there, you see very clearly that member states are no longer member states. Their importance is diminished. Why respect national constitution as they have a health constitution for the world that is they're trying to say that is sufficient, but also because and you can witness that all those who are in the law of your national country, that they have managed to change. Every country has an emergency law where, at least in Switzerland, even in the constitution, they have managed to slide in that if there is an international health concern, the WHO or any international regulatory process supersedes the Swiss constitution. So have a look. In every country, there is an emergency law that helped them to lock down every country around the 16th, 17th of March, when Dr. Fauci got this very famous email, lockdown now. I don't know if you got it, but there is one in all his emails. So it is very clear that national member states are no longer member states. They're registered as enterprises in different countries, and they're acting like CEOs of a company and not representatives of members and of the people. And this is why we have to act very quickly. We have to act and ask before the next meeting. And the next meeting they have is on 1st March 2022, where they have in the executive board of January.
Now their shit got passed, okay? And she's speaking facts. And so today, that's what they were voting on in New York. That's why you have Zelensky, you have everybody here. And they went around and tried to get it okayed through the UN. And I will scream this loud and I will say it over and over and over. We, the people of the United States of America, for the ones in the back, that protects us. You do not override the Constitution of the United States of America with a treaty that you are backdooring through the UN. You do not. Okay, WHO, shove it. You do not. That is treason. So fuck around and find out. Okay? Just do that for us, please, because we've had it with your asses. Stay the hell out of the United States of America's business, because we don't need your ass. We don't need you sticking it where your nose where it doesn't belong, okay? And UN, you just overstepped your shit. You're treasonous. And for every single one of you that voted and went behind back door and you went behind Congress, I don't even know why you guys are sticking up and saying, oh, it's passed. We've made the pact. No, bitches, you haven't. Because I, being American, born and fucking bred, Southern girl, will file a lawsuit against it. Okay? I will personally file a lawsuit against it because you are violating our Constitution and you have no right. You will not do this to my grandkids in the future generations. You will not fucking do it. I promise you. And there are many other Americans that will stand by me. Trump already tried to leave. Trump already tried to step away from the WHO. That's why they're after him. You can't do it. Okay, now here's the one video I was going to let you listen to as well. That will explain to you what these stupid freaks want to do.
There's plenty of discussion about the World Health Organization's proposed pandemic treaty and changes to international health regulations. In short, the proposal is a dystopian nightmare. The World Health Organization, the WHO, is demanding the power to dictate Australian state and federal health policy, including ordering compulsory vaccination, lockdowns, closures of borders and businesses, and worst of all, detention of anyone not complying with the latest vaccine mandate and forced medical procedures. Under its arbitrary rules, WHO can order a company to stop making drugs. The catastrophic and murderous ivermectin ban is one example of how this will be used. Under these changes, Australian health authorities would report to the WHO, not the Australian Parliament, ceding our national sovereignty to the UN's WHO, killing accountability. Australia will have to comply with every WHO dictate or face crippling export and money market sanctions. The amendments even remove WHO's overarching principle of protecting the dignity, human rights and fundamental freedoms of persons, and replaces it with a meaningless equity statement. This reflects the intended use of these amendments to act contrary to human dignity, contrary to human rights and contrary to fundamental freedoms. This power grab is being fine-tuned now in meetings behind closed doors and will be voted on at the World Health Assembly in May 2024. If passed, both houses of the Australian Parliament will still need to ratify the changes. Yet given the nature of the globalist puppets in power in Canberra's political parties, this outcome would likely be a foregone conclusion. Included in the current proposal are tens of billions of dollars to pay for pandemic preparedness in Africa, as well as giving WHO the ability to force medical companies to make drugs and devices and give them to African nations in a clear bribe to overcome Africa's reluctance to cede their authority to WHO. The Africans stopped the previous vote, so now the UN's trying to buy African votes. This is communist policy, and everyday Australians will have to pay for it. One Nation calls on the Albanese government to not sign away Australian sovereignty to unelected, unrepresentative foreign.
That is exactly what they're trying to do to us. Sign away our sovereignty. I cannot stress enough. I'll go back up and I'll read. Case. Reed versus Covert 354 U.S. 1, 1957. This ruling in the case clarified that treaties do not have the authority to override the Constitution, stating that this court has regularly and uniformly recognized the supremacy of the Constitution over a freaking treaty. Okay. Now, wait a minute. I'll read the rest of that. While this is based on the Constitution, not a specific title of the U.S. Code, Title 22 of the U.S. Code, Foreign Relations and Intercourse, deals broadly with the legal framework for treaties in diplomatic relations. However, the constitutional limitations on treaties is based only in Article 6 in the Constitution. Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. Supremacy Clause, Article 6, Clause 2 of the Constitution. Listen up, buttercups. Butter your asses. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. This clause establishes that the Constitution is the highest form of law in the U.S., and it implies that neither treaties nor federal laws can violate it. Did you bitches hear that in the back? Okay? Did you hear that, UN? Did you hear that, WHO? Did you hear that? You have no right. It won't fly. It won't happen. You can try your backdoor shit all day long, but stay the hell out of the United States of America's business. Okay? Because you're going to FAFO, bitches. I'm promising you. Because, no. It isn't going to happen. It is not going to happen. I promise you it's not going to happen. This shit's for the birds. We have a Constitution that protects our asses. And they want to sit around and act like, oh, it doesn't matter. Kiss my ass. How about that? But I will file a lawsuit against him. And I have a whole bunch of other people that are right there with me. And that's all it will take. Because of the Chevron act that the Supreme Court ruled on, they can't do this anymore. So do you see, this is what they've been doing for years. Congress has left down the freaking shit. They ain't been doing their freaking jobs. Get the hell out of the congressional seat if you are not going to protect the American people. Do you get it? If you're not going to do your job, get the hell out. And before you vote for these people, make sure you go back and see what they've done in the past 4 years. Term limits, bitches. Get rid of the lobbyists. Term limits. Why is it we have term limits on a president, but we don't? Nancy Pelosi? Her ass started growing there. It's that simple. I want to throw this laugh. That's my. Oh, it pisses me off. These people are idiots. They really think the American people are stupid. You do understand that. They think we're stupid. Wake the hell up, people, because this cannot continue. It cannot continue. It's been going on for far too long. Far too long. What? Trump has some.
Today, I'm announcing a new plan to end all sanctuary cities in North Carolina and all across our country. No more sanctuary cities. Uncle Sam, do you agree? Uncle Sam agrees. I had a feeling you would, right? You're great. As soon as I take office, we will immediately surge federal law enforcement to every city that is failing, which is a lot of them, to turn over criminal aliens, and we will hunt down, capture every single gang member, drug dealer, rapist, murderer, and migrant criminal that is being illegally harbored. Every one of the top 25 worst cities are Democrat-run cities.
Boom, baby. And that's the facts. That's the truth. Everyone, thank you guys for coming on tonight. I appreciate you guys on Instagram. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Starvos. I appreciate you guys very much. Miss Brenda, I hope you enjoyed the show. And everyone on YouTube and on X, I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Just know, guys, that we have to pray for our country and pray for President Trump. We have evil. It's a spiritual warfare is what we are doing and what we are having at this moment. Remember that. And prayer is really the only way to fight it, and truth, honor, and the Constitution, baby. Fuck with the Constitution, the American people will fuck with you. And with that, thank you guys. Be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. I came on early tonight, so I might come on early. You guys just have to set your little bell to when I do come on, because I do work a full-time job as well. But you guys stay safe, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. And with that, country crazy.